विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते राधानाथ स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादि पश्चात्य देशतारिणे ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुर्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितमेन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देगं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सकगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सकगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पदे गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसूते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ईश्वरा परम कृष्ण सच्चिदानंद विग्रह अनादिरादिर गोविंद सर्व कारण कारणम। Hare Krishna. By the causeless mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, we are nicely studying Bhagavad Gita every day. So by Krishna's causeless mercy, we have successfully finished 54 slokas in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, that is Viswarupa. So Krishna's universal form. So we just have to finish only one more sloka, sloka number 55, to finish the 11th chapter Viswarupa, which has got 55 slokas. This is the largest chapter in the Bhagavad Gita. So the 18th chapter has got 78 slokas, and the second chapter has got 72 slokas. So now this 11th chapter, it has got 55 slokas. So like when we start in the 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, all these chapters, especially 15th and 16th chapters, even 12th chapter, or even 14th chapter, they are only about 20, 25 slokas. It will go very fast. But 18th chapter has got 78 slokas. But by Krishna's causeless mercy, we are nicely progressing, and we finished almost 11 chapters. So that means it is really a very, very great achievement for us. So all the devotees are very committed, and we are studying Bhagavad Gita. We are understanding all the slokas very nicely by Krishna's causeless mercy. So this is a very, very great opportunity which we are using it very nicely. There is no doubt. That's why we are able to understand this Bhagavad Gita and make a steady progress in this effort. So by Krishna's mercy, when we understand this entire Bhagavad Gita, we cannot simply say that I'm done with Bhagavad Gita, because Bhagavad Gita is the continuous supply source of happiness for the soul. So because when we are studying Bhagavad Gita, it's not only we are understanding, but we are also relishing, we are also enjoying. That's what we need to know. Because Krishna is glorified here. He himself tells about Krishna, himself reveals about himself. Krishna is revealing about himself in this Bhagavad Gita. So we are understanding. So we are understanding that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God in this Bhagavad Gita. So that way, this knowledge, it is not just studying and understanding, but also it brings us so much happiness in our life. So anything which brings us happiness, we cannot say that I am done with it. And especially which brings us unlimited happiness. This Bhagavad Gita brings us unlimited happiness. When we study and understand this Bhagavad Gita fully, then the happiness what we are going to achieve, or what we are every day we are achieving, we are realizing, or we are enjoying, experiencing, this happiness is really, there is no limit for this. Because this material world is full of problems, we know that from Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is very clearly telling us that fact. And we are also able to realize that with the knowledge of this Bhagavad Gita. But with the help of Bhagavad Gita, when our mind is focused on only Krishna, when we are thinking only about Krishna, so all these material impediments or material problems, they don't look like big problem for us. We don't even find time to even think about that, because we have a higher purpose. We are actually connecting ourselves with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, with the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. So that way we are able to receive mercy from Krishna, and we are able to experience that unlimited mercy which is showered by Krishna. So that way we don't even feel anything as disturbance or problems in this material world, because we are fully protected by Krishna. We are completely under this like protection of Krishna, basically. So all these things are happening to us. All these things are possible just because we are getting this Bhagavad Gita knowledge. That is the only reason. Just because we are getting this Bhagavad Gita knowledge, this knowledge is bringing us everything what we need. Everything for us in this life. This Bhagavad Gita knowledge teaches us about how to control our mind and make our mind as our best friend. What else we need? We have to make our mind as our best friend. If our mind is not our friend, then what is the purpose of achieving all this success in this material world? If our mind itself is our enemy, that we need to understand. It's a very important question. One can become very successful in this material life, materialistic life, maybe good job, lot of money, lot of things, and we are hearing so many times a person who is very famous or very busy, all such things. Suddenly we just die just like that. Maybe a stroke or a heart attack or an accident or anything happens. Suddenly we lose this body completely. We leave everything. But if we realize ourselves that we are not the body, we are the soul, and we are able to connect ourselves with Krishna with the help of our mind, that way if we are able to make our mind as our best friend, that way our mind is not disturbed by anything in this material world. If our mind is not focused on anything materially speaking, there is no material attachment, nothing. If our mind is not thinking about the material sense objects, then we are happy. The real happiness comes not because we are going after the material sense objects. Our mind thinks about sense objects and we are going after those sense objects and we enjoy those sense objects. So we are not going to get happiness because of that. The real happiness comes if our mind is not going after the sense objects. If our mind is not disturbed, if our mind is not affected by the senses, not controlled by the senses, it's not going after the sense objects, then we are happy. So that is the real happiness. So the happiness we are trying to achieve by getting the material sense objects. So that is known as samsparsa ja bhoga. Samsparsa ja. Ja means born. Bhoga means enjoyment. Samsparsa ja means with material sense objects, with the senses, when the senses are in contact with the material sense objects, so that is what is known as samsparsa. So samsparsa ja, when the senses are in contact with material sense objects, we are getting enjoyment. So that is known as samsparsa ja bhoga. So that means it's a materialistic enjoyment what we are getting. But that kind of enjoyment, when our mind is attached to that, when it is going after that kind of enjoyment, as many times I quoted this sloka from Bhagavad Gita in the 5th chapter, Krishna is saying very clearly that it has got beginning and end. Adi, Anta. So both Adi and Anta, beginning and end. So, and it's also the source of our miseries. Dukkha yonaya. So these two things we need to understand. Dukkha yonaya. Yonaya means the source. So dukkha yonaya means the source of dukkha, the source of distress. So what is the source of our distress? The source of our distress is when we try to enjoy material sense objects. So we think that we are enjoying, we think that we are joyful, we are happy, enjoy all such things. We are thinking that it is very fun and enjoyment. But really that is the source of our distress. Dukkha yonaya evati. And it has got both beginning and end. Adi anta. Beginning and end. Adi antavantaga kaunteya. An intelligent person does not take participation in such kind of material sense enjoyment. Nateshu ramate buddha. So if we are intelligent, if we get this Bhagavad Gita knowledge, if we are able to connect ourselves with Krishna, so then we really don't go after this kind of material sense enjoyment. Because we are already very happy connecting ourselves with Krishna, thinking about Krishna, remembering Krishna, following Bhagavad Gita, serving Krishna by spreading this Bhagavad Gita, and all the time remembering these slokas in Bhagavad Gita, what Krishna is teaching in Bhagavad Gita, focusing on this Bhagavad Gita knowledge. So all these things are bringing us so much happiness. So that kind of happiness when we achieve, our mind is becoming our friend. Because our mind is not disturbed. Because here happiness is assured. When we do this, we will definitely be happy. There is no doubt about it. It is 100% assured, more than 100% assured that we will be very happy if we do this. Whatever Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, if we just follow, if we do that, we will be happy. If we remember Krishna, if we chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, if we follow Bhagavad Gita, if we offer prasadam to Krishna, if we control our eating and sleeping habits, if we do all those things, if we are able to achieve the status of yoga, so that means not getting disturbed by the results in being equal in both success and failure. So that means that is the real happiness, and that happiness we can enjoy unlimitedly, and that happiness is assured. We are definitely going to get that happiness, and that happiness will stay forever. But whereas in this material world, since this happiness is flickering and it is not permanent and it has got beginning and end, so when that happiness ends, then what will be the end result? The end result of this temporary flickering material happiness is frustration, because that happiness is not there with us all the time. So whatever happiness we are trying to achieve, we are trying to enjoy in this material world with material sense objects, that happiness is not going to stay with us. It's only momentary happiness. It's only flickering happiness. So that happiness, actually, since it doesn't stay longer, and many times we won't even get that happiness. Many times we don't even, when we are attached to sense objects, we don't even get those sense objects to enjoy, even materially speaking. So either we get it, or even if we don't get it also, the end result is only frustration. The end result is we are not satisfied. So when we are not satisfied, what happens? Our mind is disturbed. Our mind is agitated. So then what is going to come? Distress will come. When our mind is disturbed, then there is distress. Disturbed mind brings distress. Peaceful mind brings happiness. So that way, it is very scientific. It is a scientific fact that going after material world, material sense objects, always the end result is only distress, suffering. It's for everyone. We cannot simply say that, oh, someone is so happy, they are getting whatever they want, they're getting very nice job and this and that, all such things we can think. But that is all relative, that is all not correct. So because our standard of happiness, in this material world, we keep like that. Unfortunately, we think that somebody getting a job, or somebody getting so much of money, or somebody becoming a rich person or powerful person, so that is the nice thing. So he's the happiest person. What if I can get it? Like that, we think it. We think like that. We need to understand, with the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, we can clearly understand that no one can be happy in this world. We need to understand. This is like looking for water in the desert. So we cannot get it. In the desert, if we run for water, we can only see the mirage of water, not the real water. So that way, in this material world, we think that we will be happy by doing this, we'll be happy by doing that. But at the end, we won't be happy at all. That is what the reality. So every one of us are experiencing the same reality. But here, based on Bhagavad Gita, what Krishna says, by remembering Krishna, by surrendering unto Krishna, by loving Krishna, by serving Krishna, studying Bhagavad Gita, spreading Bhagavad Gita, chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, reciting Bhagavad Gita slokas, and all such things, when we do that, here 100% real happiness is assured. Permanent happiness is assured. Because our mind is very much connected with Krishna. Our mind is no longer disturbed. So this is the real happiness which we will be able to experience unlimitedly. Sukham, Akshayam, asnute. So that's why an intelligent person does not go after the material sense objects. Nateshu ramate buddha. So an intelligent person means Krishna is saying that anyone who worships me, who is rendering devotional service unto me, who thinks about me all the time, who loves me, so I give them the intelligence by which they can come to me. Tesam satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam enama upayantite. So I give them the intelligence by which they can come to me. That's what Krishna is saying there. So the real intelligence comes when our mind is attached to Krishna. So that's what is very important. Our mind has to be attached to Krishna. That's what is very important. So that happens only with this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. That's what we are getting. We are getting this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. And to get this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, we simply need faith. That is the only qualification we need. Nothing else. Just with that qualification, faith, we can actually get this knowledge. A faithful person gets this knowledge. When we get this knowledge, we will attain everlasting peace of mind. Peace of mind brings us happiness. Saddhavan labate jnanam tat paraga samyate indriga jnanam labdva param shanti achirena adhigachyati. So that way we are having faith. That's why we are getting this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. And because of this faith, because we are getting this Bhagavad Gita knowledge, we are understanding, we are realizing that we are not the body, we are the soul, and Krishna is the super soul, and we are able to connect ourselves with Krishna. And since our mind is attached to Krishna, we are able to understand this Bhagavad Gita knowledge. When we are able to follow all the instructions given by Krishna in this Bhagavad Gita, so that way we are very happy. That way our mind is not at all disturbed, we are very happy. So as long as we are connected with Krishna, we are able to remember Krishna, we are able to follow Bhagavad Gita, so then we will be happy. And this thing, actually, when we make more and more progress, we are always going to keep progressing only. We will never fall back. That's a very important, that's a very really good thing to know. In this, there is no coming back. In this progress, when we put efforts in remembering Krishna, in serving Krishna, in understanding Bhagavad Gita, whatever efforts we are putting, whatever progress we are making, we are not going to go back. We are not going to go downwards. Whatever progress we make, it's going to stay with us. And we are going to keep moving, keep marching forward towards Goloka. That's what is happening with us, all of us. We are all spending our time really wisely, nicely, and we are all very committed to study Bhagavad Gita. And Krishna is now pouring us with more and more opportunities to please Him. We can all come together, we can plan, we can brainstorm, we can come out with nice, wonderful ideas, and we can serve Krishna, we can bring many devotees to this class, and we can all enjoy. So there is a real enjoyment which comes by studying this Bhagavad Gita. So that's what we are studying in the 11th chapter. Krishna is saying very clearly in the sloka number 53 and 54 what we studied. Krishna said that Naham Vedai na tapasa na danena na chejjaya. So Naham Vedai na tapasa na danena na chejjaya. Sakya evam vido aham sakya evam vido drishtum drishtvanasi mamyata. So whatever you are seeing right now, so it is not possible just by studying the Vedas, Naham Vede, na tapasa, not by doing austerities, Naham Vede, na tapasa, na danagi, not by charity, and not by simply worshipping. So then how it is possible? That's what we studied yesterday in the sloka number 54. Krishna said, Bhaktyat ananyaya sakya aham yevam vidorjuna jnatum drashtum cha tatvena praveshtum cha parantapa. Bhaktyat ananya. So by unalloyed devotion, that's what Bhaktyat ananya, without any deviation, by showing devotion unto Krishna, Bhaktyat ananya sakya aham evam vidorjuna. One can know me. That's what Krishna is saying there. So jnatum drashtum cha tatvena praveshtum cha parantapa. One can know me, jnatum. One can see me, drashtum. One can enter into my nature. One can enter into my world, Goloka. Praveshtum cha parantapa. So what is needed? Only bhakti. Bhaktya labdha. So in the 8th chapter also, Krishna taught us that when we go to Golokam, so Krishna said that there is another world which is not disturbed at all. Compared to this material world when it is created or annihilated, so nothing happens. Parastasmatu bhavonyo avyakto vyaktat sanatanaga yasya sarvesu bhuteshu nashyatsu navinashyati. So there is another place. So when this material world is created or annihilated, nothing happens there. So that is always there. So that's what Krishna is saying there. So that is known as eternal. Avyakto kshara ityuktaga tamahu param paramam gati yam prapya nanivartante tadama paramam mama. So that is known as Avyakto Kshara. It is unmanifested, it's infallible. Avyakto Kshara ityuktaga tamahu paramam gatim. That is known as the supreme destination. Tamamuhu paramam gatim yam prapya na nivartante taddama paramam mama. Anyone who reaches there will not come back. That is my supreme abode. That's what Krishna is saying. Yam prapya na nivartante taddama paramam mama. Then Krishna is teaching in this 22nd sloka in the 8th chapter. Purushaga saparaga partha bhaktya labhyasvananyaya yasyantagastani bhutani yena sarvam idam tatham. So Purushaga Shaparaga Partha Bhaktya Labhyastvananyaya. Only those people, those persons who have unalloyed devotion. Again, Ananya Bhaktya. So in this chapter, in the 11th chapter, 54th sloka also, Krishna is using the word Ananya and Bhaktya. So here also Bhaktya Labhyast Ananya. Bhaktya Labhyast Ananyaya. So without any deviation, if anyone shows devotion unto me, then he will be able to reach my abode. That's what Krishna is saying. So now in this sloka number 55, what we are studying today in the 11th chapter. So there is the last sloka in the 11th chapter. Krishna is teaching us there. Matkarma krin matparamo madartam sangavarjitaka nirvairaga sarvabhutesu yasamameti pandava. That's what Krishna is teaching. Matkarma krin matparamo. So one who performs all the duty, all the activities only for me. That's what matkarma prin matparama. So keeping me, considering me as the supreme personality of Godhead, matparama. So one who performs all the activities, everything only for me, understanding that I am the supreme personality of Godhead. Matkarma krin matparamo madartam sangavarjitaga. For my sake, one who is able to give up all attachments to this material world, one who is free from all attachments. This is what madartam sangavarjitaga. Nirvairaga sarvabhutesu. One who doesn't consider anyone as enemies. So nirvairaga sarvabhutesu. So that way, because when we are attached to Krishna, when we are connected with Krishna, when we are doing everything for Krishna, so then we are friend to everyone. Then we consider everyone as friend because we are not enemies to anyone. Because we focus only on Krishna, only on Bhagavad Gita. So that's why nirvairaga sarvabhutesu yes samameti pandava. So he will reach me. Oh Pandava, that person will come to me. That's what Krishna is saying there. My dear Arjuna, he who engages in my pure devotional service, free from the contaminations of fruitive activities and mental speculation, he who works for me, who makes me the supreme goal of his life, and who is friendly to every living being, he certainly comes to me. That's what Krishna is saying there. So we are all going to go to Krishna because just by getting this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, we are going to achieve all these qualifications. That's it. Just this Bhagavad Gita knowledge alone makes all the magic. It makes all the wonder. All the miracles will happen in our life just by having this Bhagavad Gita knowledge. That's why Krishna said in the 14th chapter, 2nd sloka, Idam jnanam upashitya mamasa dharmya madhav. That's it. If you take shelter unto this knowledge, you will come to me. I'm explaining you both jnana and vijnana completely. By knowing this, there is nothing else there for you to know. So if we take yajnatva mokshasya asubha, by knowing this knowledge, you are freed from all miseries of material existence. So that way, this Bhagavad Gita knowledge brings us happiness. By Krishna's causeless mercy, we are getting this knowledge, we are understanding this Bhagavad Gita. So definitely by Krishna's causeless mercy, we will go to Goloka one day. There is no doubt about it. Hare Krishna, by Krishna's causeless mercy, we have successfully finished the 11th chapter Vishwarupa today, and we will start Bhakti Yoga from tomorrow. Hare Krishna. We'll discuss if any questions are there now. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Guruji.